He was someone that you were attracted to because of his personality and his zest for life.
He was very funny, very witty. He's known for his humor. And he made tennis playing fun.
Yeah, he was just heart and soul of Georgia sports for basically 50 years.
Dan Magill. He's often called the greatest Bulldog of all time. He coached tennis at Georgia for 34 years. Along the way, he won 2 NCAA national titles, 21 SEC championships, and retired as the winningest coach in college tennis history. He also left behind what is one of the country's most iconic college tennis stadiums, the Dan Magill Tennis Complex. The complex was opened in 1958, and these hard courts were added 10 years later. It kept on growing, and now these seats can hold up to 5,000 people. The complex is about ready to have another renovation project starting after this semester that's projected to total about $8 million. Now that made me really want to find out more about Dan Magill, the complex, and what makes it all so special. Now to do that, I had to go talk to the people that knew him the best.
Well, my dad, as I was born in Athens, so he's a native Athenian. You know, a lot of people seem to want to escape their roots and where they came from, and the grass looks green on the other side of the fence. He was always the opposite. Athens, Georgia, the University of Georgia, always provided him with all that he wanted.
Magill spent nearly all of his 93 years in Athens up until his death in 2015. As an undergrad at Georgia, he majored in journalism and was a talented member of the Bulldog swim team. Before that, he spent his childhood and teen years working different sports-related jobs on the Georgia campus. His enthusiasm and work ethic led legendary Georgia football coach Wally Butts to offer him a job as sports information director in Georgia's communications department. In 1954, Magill became Georgia's first official tennis coach. He later went on to establish the athletic department's fundraising branch known as the Georgia Bulldog Club.
With Coach Magill, anytime he had an idea that could, see the light of day, he was going to do everything humanly possible to, make it happen and to get other people excited about it. And so the minute the idea was conceived, it was kind of go, go, go.
As coach, it was Magill's efforts to host the annual NCAA championship tournament that motivated him to begin pushing for major upgrades to the facility. The large wooden grandstand was added in 1977, the first of 13 straight years Georgia would host the NCAA tournament. Now, over 40 years later, the complex has 16 courts that are both outdoors and indoors. The complex is also the site of the Intercollegiate Tennis Association Hall of Fame building. In 1984, the exhibits opened in Athens thanks to more efforts made mostly by Magill. Apart from his dedication and love for all things Georgia, one of the other reasons Magill was able to accomplish so many ambitious projects was his ability to share his natural curiosity and love for life with everyone around him.
Well, he was a very charismatic fellow. Like Tom Sawyer painting the fence, whatever he was doing, you wanted to do. And if he thought that playing tennis every day was a noble endeavor, then you did too.
He wanted it done his way and done right, and it wasn't in a mean way, but just he had his standards, and that applied to kind of everything, which is how he was able to build a great program and build a great tennis facility, as well as every other thing he did with the University of Georgia.
Magill didn't just bring this attitude to his tennis program. With the Georgia Bulldog Club, he spoke in every county in the state, raising money for the university. It was during these tours of the state that he was able to spread his enthusiasm for Georgia even more.
And Coach Magill in a lot of ways was the front door to the University of Georgia, because around the state, when he would go talk to people in Moultrie or Valdosta or Macon or anywhere and everywhere in the state of Georgia, at Georgia Bulldog Club meetings or other functions, he's there representing Georgia tennis and Georgia athletics, but he's also representing the University of Georgia.
Even after Magill retired from coaching in 1989, he made sure Georgia tennis was in the right hands. Manuel Diaz, the current Georgia men's coach and 4-time national champion, and Jeff Wallace, the Bulldogs women coach and himself a 2-time national champion, both played for Magill at Georgia. After he retired, Magill handpicked Diaz to follow in his footsteps as Georgia's next tennis coach. Wallace then worked as Diaz's assistant before taking over the women's program. Now, 30 years later, Diaz still sees aspects of his own coaching he attributes to none other than Magill.
One of the things that, I learned from him is that, a sense of humor is very important. He didn't mind, making a little fun out of himself. He made people laugh. He made people comfortable. And, he certainly, more than anything, cared about his players as people first. And those are all lessons that I learned from him.
Now, after this season comes to a close, the grandstand at the complex will be torn down. The plan is to replace it with more modern seating and in the future, more indoor courts too. Even though it will look physically different, the emotional connection between this facility and Magill will still stand. He was UGA through and through. Now, with improved facilities and 2 college tennis legends still at the reins thanks to him, the founding father of Georgia tennis can continue to influence the program he loved so much. Jack Austin, Grady News Source.